everybody? It is Red, right back with you to review the latest pro wrestling news and results at Hot Wrestling. Wednesday night. Let's get into it on a Friday versus, you know the drill, it's Impact versus Ring of Honor ROH. The Thursday night battle continues right here with Versus. Looking back at both shows from Thursday night, both 2-hour shows, head to head, and Thursday night, whoa, baby. So let's get into it. This was on the 8th of June, just last night. Just a quick overview on both shows before we get into the head-to-head battle. Impact's episode was the go-home show for Against All Odds, which is tonight. I'm actually planning on watching that just momentarily after this rant drops, as a matter of fact. So that will be the next big rant coming through, probably either tonight, tomorrow, sometime on the weekend here. A mega rant on Against All Odds. I may wait till Sunday, as a matter of fact, because I'll talk about also the spoilers that were taped on Saturday night after Against All Odds in Columbus, Ohio. So be looking for that probably Sunday. We're going to be doing also laying the rant down on industry news over the weekend too. So that's what's ahead. But for here, Impact, like I said, was the go-home show for Against All Odds. That's tonight. I thought it was all right. There was a lot of stuff in the in-ring that was definitely lacking this week, I felt, and not a huge flow of momentum going into this Against All Odds show. But there's a couple matches on paper that sound pretty good. The 8-4-1 match sounds all right. I think the dog color match with Masha and Killer Kelly should be great. Main event should probably be great as well. And Trey Miguel and Chris Sabin, of course, rematching from the last big show that Impact did. So ultimately, this is kind of a theme show where both Motor City Machine Guns are getting the shots at singles titles. And then we'll find out who is the next big challenger for Slammiversary. That's coming up in like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, something like that. So that's just right around the corner. I'm kind of guessing it'll be Nick Aldis. We'll see where they go with it. Ring of Honor had their last of one of 2 shows that are now in the can that were taped this past Sunday in Orlando at Universal Studios. And this is the last tapings officially of the Orlando run. So this will be it for Ring of Honor in Orlando. From this point on, they will be taped every single week with AEW Collision on Saturday nights. So that'll add a different dynamic to these shows coming forward on Thursday nights with Ring of Honor, now that they'll be taped in front of presumably a much larger crowd than Orlando. Although I kind of liked the vibe that they were going with in Orlando at Universal Studios. It was a much improved vibe than the days of TNA in Orlando at Universal, I'll say. So this was a marked improvement with crowds there at least, but it will be better to see them in the tapings with Collision. I think it's a better idea overall. Another big thing that they did on Ring of Honor this week was they had Tony Khan become essentially a character on TV, kind of, sort of, and he announced a new board of directors, which included Jerry Lynn, one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, and of all people, Stokely Hathaway. Now, I thought maybe this was like a legit decision by Tony Khan to have these guys helping creative and then have a presence in the show itself too. But what it appears to be is that Stokely's going to be a heel kind of GM character, and then Tony Khan as well as Jerry Lynn are going to filter him and balance it out. I don't know what to think about this. This seems a little bit weird for Ring of Honor, but at least they're doing something other than just having matches. They need to start considering some more storyline stuff for the shows to kind of get things rolling a little bit more. And it will be interesting with Ring of Honor taped during Collision if there will be maybe input from Danielson, maybe Punk, and some other guys on the direction of that brand. I guess time will tell. Let's wait and see what happens as that taping is just around the corner. As a matter of fact, I will be at that first Ring of Honor / Collision taping next Saturday in Chicago. So stay tuned for that. That's the next big Wrestling Rants road trip that's literally right around the corner here. So it's going to be a damn good time in Chicago next weekend. All right, let's get into the head-to-head battle without any more further ado. Impact's opener this week was Chris Bay over Jason Hodge of the Good Hands. This is a preview to the match that they're actually having tonight for the tag championship to the two teams. You know, it just felt flat to me. A lot of the matches this week on Impact felt this way, probably because the crowd was pretty quiet and half not there. There was a lot of empty seats at this part of the taping. This was in, I think, on London, Ontario, Canada still. But yeah, this match just, yeah, they were trying. Both guys are talented, but when you can't get a crowd behind you, and this is supposed to be an opening match of the show, it just did not connect to me. Also, Heath did an interview in this segment. He's part of the 841 match. So a little preview on that one. There was a lot of stuff on this episode of Impact regarding that match. Almost set up itself as a kind of a main event of the show. Kyle Fletcher over on Ring of Honor of Aussie Open in a match with Christopher Daniels that actually was given a significant amount of time. This was really good. I think they went 12 minutes or something like that. That was a long match for Ring of Honor standards. And yeah, Daniels put him over strong with his Fletcher's finish, that kind of tombstone type of variant. Really good stuff. Code of Honor after the match. This was just a great way to open up Ring of Honor. So we are definitely going to give Ring of Honor the nod on this first quarter-hour segment head-to-head. Going back to Impact for our second quarter-hour. Not a whole lot of meat to the bone on this quarter-hour segment either. We had a Dirty Dango kind of documentary-style segment. It was kind of, I guess, played as like a fake doc of sorts. It was okay. It was something was just kind of dry about it, but there was a little bit of good humor in it. I don't know. It was what it was. Also, Heath went over Champagne's thing in a pretty average match, and the Design also did a promo basically saying the six-man at Against All Odds is now going to be some sort of street fight, and they did it. I don't know if they announced it last week or it was on social media, but they have Madman Fulton as part of OVE now in that six-man Against the Design with Callahan and one of the Chris brothers. Over on a Ring of Honor, we had Matt Sydal over Zach Clayton in a relatively quick match. This was done to establish Sydal taking on Samoa Joe next week for the Ring of Honor Television Championship. So, convincing win for Sydal. Really quick match. I think it went 3-4 minutes. He challenges Joe in the ring in a promo. Tony Khan announced later that that match is set for the next week. And then also in this quarter-hour segment, the majority of it was for the match with Dralistico over Willie Mack, which is an interesting pairing that actually really worked. I thought this match was pretty damn good. So once again, Ring of Honor on this quarter hour. So now 2-0 we have for Ring of Honor. Over on the Impact side, Joe Henry over Shelton Jean. Again, very just average match. Calls out Dirty Dango. Dango comes out, and this was a good part of the segment. Henry parodies again Dango with another kind of a music video thing, and a lot of stuff with his past, talking about his win over Jericho and some stuff with the Divas. Anyway, the whole premise of this video was that he was a Divas reject, and it came off much better than I just tried to explain it. It didn't do it any justice. But this was a good part of the show for sure. Also, they showed stuff from Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich. And there also was in this segment, I'm getting all mixed up. Ixnay the Masha Slamovich stuff. I looked at my notes wrong. Calls out Dirty Dango. Divas reject this video. And then Santino comes up to make the save after Kenny King and Shelton Jean take out Joe Henry with Dirty Dango. Santino comes out, gets the Cobra on Shelton Jean, and that's the end of the segment. It actually came off a lot better than, again, I made it sound because I got all mixed up on my notes here. But not bad. Not a bad segment that sets up Henry and Dirty Dango against the Lots tonight. Over on the Ring of Honor side, this is where we got the Tony Khan segment announcing Jerry Lynn and Stokely Hathaway are part of this board of directors kind of thing that they got going on as kind of dual GMs. And then we also had Willow Nightingale over Rachel Ellering, which was a decent match. It was for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. It was all right. I'm going to give just slightly, though. Oh, man, this is a tough one because there was some good and some bad on both of these segments on Impact and on Ring of Honor. I'm going to go with... Yeah, I'm going to go with Ring of Honor on this one. With the Willow match with Rachel Ellering. Just solid pro wrestling on that one. So, there you go. Over on Impact, Giselle Shaw did a promo, mostly talking about laying out Jordan Grace. I think there's something on Impact next week between those two, where Grace kind of gets really taken out in the storyline. And then the Coven went over the Death Dolls for the Impact Knockouts tag titles. Something about these two teams, they have a long-winded storyline, but the matches themselves are just not super endearing. But they got all the hocus pocus involved with these two teams, of course. Over on Ring of Honor, we had the Embassy over Marcus Cross, Eli Isom, and Cheeseburger in a Proving Ground match. Nick Cross took the pin and most of the selling at the end of the match. Also, Mercedes Martinez went over Burt Dixon in this segment. So two really quick matches on Ring of Honor. Coven and Death Dolls have a little bit more time than the two matches together on the other side. I'll give Impact a nod on this one for that quarter hour. So first quarter hour, Ring of Honor 3, Impact 1. Ouch. Impact opens up the second hour, which would be the fifth quarter hour, with an Alex Shelley vignette talking about the match with him and Steve Macklin against all odds tonight for the Impact Championship. Macklin also does a promo in the back where Bully Ray gets in his face a bit, kind of suggesting that he's going to win the 8-4-1 match and take on Macklin. So there's this, they did this last week on Impact too, where they're kind of working together, but Bully's don't trust me, I want the title. Ultimately, I'm not interested in Macklin and Bully Ray at all. Just throwing it out Impact. Maybe don't go in that direction. Also, they showed Masha Slamovich. This was from BTI. Laying out a jobber with a dog collar that's setting up the match with Killer Kelly. Dog collar match against all odds. Not a lot in this segment. No in-ring, actually, at all in this segment. Over on Ring of Honor, we had Lee Moriarty in a pretty quick match with Gareth Garrison, who had returned. He hadn't been wrestling for quite a long time. It was a quick match. It was 3 or 4 minutes of not a whole lot going on in this match. So Moriarty won with a little bit of cheating to win also. And then Kiera Hogan went over Robin Renegade in a pretty solid match. And Athena attacked after the match. So this program is continuing. This started last week on Ring of Honor with the taping from Vegas where we had Athena against Kiera Hogan. Solid match you should really check out if you haven't had a chance yet. And they did some brawling after that match as well. There was some shenanigans. This more of the same in this one. Kiera beats the Renegades. Actually, both of the Renegades tried to switcheroo. Didn't really matter. Kiera Hogan beat him anyway. Athena comes out. There's a kendo stick involved. Kiera gets it. Lays out Athena and gets kind of a revenge a little bit on Athena. So they're going to continue to do something. And I would bet they're probably going to see this match at the Collision Ring of Honor taping. Kiera Hogan and Athena another time. We'll see what they go with it. But I'll give definitely Ring of Honor the nod on this quarter hour. Just more in-ring. And quite frankly, there was literally no in-ring on Impact. Over on Impact then for our sixth quarter hour, we have Trey Miguel over Bahinder Gadar. It was good. It was all right. I thought it was probably one of the brighter spots of the in-ring of Impact this week for sure. And then over on Ring of Honor, we had Dark Order over the Workhorsemen and Shane Taylor in a a match that they gave a little bit of extra time to it help in some level. They're trying to bridge this storyline with Stu Grayson a little bit more, and in fact, we had the Righteous with a promo after with Grayson. Grayson just said that they're kind of soft, and it sounds like he's sticking with the Righteous. So I'm going to give both of these quarter hours had some pretty good in-ring. I will give Impact the nod on this one for the Trey Miguel match with Bahinder. And then over on Impact, this is our last half hour, so quarter hour 7. Swinger and promo in the back says that somehow Ziggy Dice is getting the referee's license. He is desperate to get that first win in this like reverse streak kind of thing. Trinity and Diana Perrazzo did a segment with Gia Miller in the back, and I thought it was pretty good. Set up the match that they're doing with Giselle and Savannah Evans at Against All Odds, and yet sets up things a little bit with some layers for Slammiversary in their match for the Impact Women's Championship. Thought it was a pretty solid little promo segment there. They also talked the Against All Odds lineup in this quarter hour segment. So then we go over to Ring of Honor. In the competition, we had Action Andretti, Air Fox, Dante Martin over the Trustbusters. This setup will be a 6-man championship match with the Embassy next week. So a pretty decent little match. And then also in this quarter hour segment, we had the Kingdom over Cabarte and El Dragon. I have not heard of these guys. They said I guess they were an MLW a little bit, maybe CMLL, possibly. Whatever the case, the match kind of broke apart pretty quickly when I think it was El Dragon accidentally split open. Not Taven, but Mike Bennett, and he was gushing. Taven took over the crux of the match, and it was pretty much they went to the finish soon after that. It wasn't much time given on this one. So Kingdom did go over, and Mike Bennett was fucking bloody as shit. Over the weirdest thing, I look back on the replay, I cannot seem to figure out where exactly it happened. He must have got caught with an errant elbow or a knee or something, or maybe a heel. I don't know, but he was bloody, let me tell you. I'm going to go with probably Ring of Honor just because the in-ring in that 6-man, and I think the match was all right. So another one for Ring of Honor this week. Go to our main event segments, last quarter hours of both shows. This was a preview to the 8-4-1 match at Against All Odds. We had Moose in there with Rich Swann as they went over Jonathan Gresham and Nick Aldis. What a weird pairing of match here. The match was okay, but there was a lot of stuff with Moose and Swann getting into it. I guess the idea here is that it's heels and baby faces on both teams in this 8-4-1 scenario. So they're not going to be able to get along very well. And that was generally the theme of this. Heath came out, Bully Ray came out after the match, and PCO also did. The only guy missing out of the 8 guys in this initial 8-4-1 match, which is a 4-on-4 tag, so it leads to a 4-way, where wins the 4-way gets the championship match against presumably Macklin at Slammiversary. The only guy missing out of here was Steve-O Mike Bailey, because he was in New Japan at the Super Junior stuff, as this was still going on and the taping was happening and stuff. So it was what it is. I'm intrigued in that match. It could either be really not good at all, like a complete disaster, or it might be booked solidly. So I guess we'll see what happens tonight on Against All Odds for that one. Over on Ring of Honor, Tony Khan comes back out. There's this stuff with Stokely Hathaway healing up and making weird suggestions like get rid of lucha matches on Ring of Honor and all this stuff. Tony Khan kind of steps in and says, well, actually, what we're going to do now is we're going to be doing a lucha match with Bandito's brother, who's in the back, and this guy's name is Gravity. Never heard of the dude, but he worked the match against Ray Phoenix for the main event of Ring of Honor. This was a weird way that this was booked. Let me tell you, it was so bizarre, but the match was excellent. This guy, Gravity, we'll see if they go with him for some more stuff, but he looked pretty impressive in there with Ray Phoenix. They seem to have a good camaraderie together. I don't know if they've worked matches in Mexico perhaps before, but this was a nice debut for Gravity. Bandito's brother and Ray Phoenix did go over in the match, but really hot way to end Ring of Honor, albeit booked on the fly and very unusually in a strange way. But all in all, I have to say Ring of Honor dominated this week. I'll give them the main event segment as well. So they won this week handily at 6 quarter hours to only 2 for Impact this week. But it was a case of the in-ring. There's just so much better wrestling on Ring of Honor this week compared to Impact. Some weeks, that's very competitive. This week, unfortunately, was not as competitive as most weeks when it comes to that. Okay, everybody, come on back this weekend, laying the rent down, mega rent on Impact Against All Odds, and then we'll move into next week where we go into our regular schedule, Monday through Friday stuff once again. So see you right back here later on this weekend for some wrestling. Once bye.